Hello and welcome to another Spirit Island video. Today I will be doing Ryan Lackie's challenge for Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds on board G with Scotland 6. Several other Spirit Island creators are going to be doing this and uploading it. And the Ryan Lackie's video on Monday goes into more detail on what we're doing and why we're doing it. So, for this game, I will be playing Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds, and because this is a seeded game, I'm on TTS. Now, I've never actually played Spirit Island on TTS before, so please forgive me if I make any mistakes or mess anything up here, but I think I've gotten it set up well enough. So let's start by doing our initial explore. So we start with wetlands. So let's grab our explorers. All right. And we've got our board set up properly and everything. So I think with that, let's begin. So on Keeper, for solo play, I like to always open with my G2, getting a power card, into G3, just putting a presence in my land that already has presence. And then generally I'll play my Boon of Growing Power. I'll grow off of top track to get my a second sun element, play Boon of Growing Power. Then I can use my Spreading Wilds in the slow to push an Explorer and add a Wilds in an adjacent land. The only exception to that would be if I were to draft a zero cost power with sun and just a zero cost sun power of any kind, then I may consider just going down to 2 card plays, playing that alongside Boon of Growing Power for the same effect, so that I can more quickly work my way over to 3. Now, let's go ahead and do our growth. So let's gain a minor power card. And we did get a zero cost sun as an option that's called to Ferocity. And let's see, that would let me push this Explorer and Town out after they build, which completely stops their progress there. That way I can focus more on I can do my Spreading Wilds up in my G8. I like doing my Spreading Wilds into the land with a town, because then I can Sacrosanct Wilderness on the next turn to just do 2 damage to that town and create a nice pocket on the inland. So Call to Ferocity is looking nice. Teeming Rivers gives me blight removal, which is pretty important with Keeper. However, it doesn't provide much different. It overlaps with my regrow from roots a decent amount. It is tempting though with that sun plant element. The Shore Seethes with Hatred is great into Scotland because it adds both Badlands and Wilds into a coastal land where Scotland thrives. This G2 is going to be a problem land for a while, so it'll be nice to potentially be able to just kind of build up towards having big damage in there later. So then Haunted by Primal Memories is also incredible for me because I tend to have sacred sites all over the place. 2 range from a sacred site is pretty easy to hit, and defense is kind of essential with this spirit in solo. I don't have any real defense in my starting hand or innates. So the question is, do I want defense setup, or defense control setup, or blight removal? And I think for me right now, control functions the same as defense when I'm able to just push this Explorer Town out. So I think I'm going to go for control. And because of that, I'm also just going to use my G3 to grow off of bottom track right into here. And that gets me 2 card plays. and I'll play my Boon of Growing Power. Oh wait, and I forgot to, so I gain my energy from my growth option, and I gain my energy from my presence tracks. And now I play both of my power cards. And that does enable my right innate. And let's pay our energy. And then let's just flip our ready token to go into the next phase. So now we're in fast powers. I don't have any fast powers to play. So let's go next to the invader phase. Now they will build in wetlands. So they clear the disease on land 2. And then they also build a town on land 4. And then let's double check. Scotland's build. So that's, sorry, I just need to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So Scotland 3, in coastal lands, build cards affect lands without invaders, so long as there's an adjacent city. That is not an issue here. Just have to, make sure. And let me make sure my explore was fine too. Yep, that was fine. All right. Yeah, because that wasn't during play. So just making sure I'm following the rules here. Since I've never played against Scotland without the auto management of the digital app. All right, now now that we've done our build, let's do our explore, and we have sands. That's unfortunate because of the, just because that is kind of out of my reach for a little while. And because of Scotland level 1, they will add a town there. So let's put a town here. And then we just added the regular explorer over here. And this is also out of reach of my... oh wait, I forgot to push these Dahan out when I placed that presence. So knowing myself, I usually would have put those in this land 8 actually. That's generally my play habit going into this. I'd push my Dahan into the land with the town, so not to have extra information or anything, I'll just do what I would have done without that information. That's my bad. Okay, now so they did their explore, we advanced the invader cards, and we go to the slow power phase. So first, let's do our Boon of Growing Power. So we will just gain a minor power. Okay. So, call to trade lets us gather a Dahan and turn a Ravage into a build. That would solve my 3. But another thing that would solve it would be a Carapace land in there if I just grow into there with my G3 or G4. And Carapace land seems to have more utility to me, especially since I'm just lacking defense right now. And I do have Earth Elements on over half of my power cards already for that extra 3 defend. Gold's Allure could also be kind of enticing as a card that solves my 5. However, I don't want to deal too much with Scotland's... if I don't do something about this, then right in my land 2 next turn, they'll be Ravaging there and Blighting, and then putting a Blight in the ocean as well with their Scotland 5. And then on top of that, they will be Blighting here, putting another Blight in the ocean. We'll be going Blighted Island. So I'm going to try to find something else to do with my land 5. But for now, I think I need to prioritize defense. So let's take Carapace land. And then my next power is Call to Ferocity, which I will target my G4, which just pushes an explorer. It generates 1 fear. So let's do 1 fear. And let's push 1 explorer and 1 town. And let's just build up this land more, since they're already blighting anyways. Now, an argument could be made for actually using my Carapace land in this one and just not letting them ravage, and pushing these guys out somewhere else. So before I push these, if I Carapace land here alongside, say, a Sacrosanct Wilderness or Regrow from Roots, then this town and these 2 cities hit for 6, that hits for the 7th, and I do fully defend there. However, I do not get any benefit of a counterattack from that, but it does save me 2 blight. And then if they blight here, then that would just blight the ocean instead, but I have more time to try to come up with a solution to both of those lands. Let's see, I could, the thing is, I also mind them blighting 3 a lot more than 2, because in my 2, that's a wetland, that's a good target for Regrow from Roots, so I could remove that blight and still remove the ocean one later. So I think I'm going to still focus on defending my 3 with that. So let's, yeah, let's push these into the 2 then. Okay. Now, for my last slow power, I have my Spreading Wilds. Unfortunately, there are no explorers in range that I'm able to target, because this is a blighted land. Otherwise, I would just push that explorer out and solve that land. So instead, I think I'm going to focus on bringing myself a little closer to these problems for now, and then next turn I can work on my 8. So let's just put a wilds here, and then I can grow into their next turn. All right, so that is it for my slow powers. So then we'll just do our time passes. All right, and then we have our spirit phase again. Now I have 2 energy, so on this turn for my for the next phase of my keeper opening, I will be doing my growth 3, which gets me a presence and one extra energy, which then can pay that 3 energy cost to gain a power card and add another presence. And I'm going to try to looping that as much as I possibly can before I have to reclaim. So let's add a presence, and I'm just going to go ahead and gain the energy right now. And I like growing off of top track now to get my to get to my land, or to get to my 4 energy. That sustains my loop here as much as I can, and also that enables me to gain a major power sooner. So let's add a presence to a land with wilds, and then we'll pay 3 energy to gain a power card. And I think at this point I still would like to gain, so if I gain 1 more minor, does that solve any of my problems? So this turn I can do my regrow from roots for sure. Is there something else I want to play alongside it? If I play regrow and sacrosanct, then I won't have enough energy, because I'll be at 4 energy and I want to be at 2 or more by the end of my slow phase. So I won't be at enough energy to actually do anything significant with my do my double growth next turn. So I think for this turn, I want to try to find a second card to play, since I already know I'm going to be playing Carapace Land, on my next turn. And I don't want to play Towering Wrath. So let's do Sacrosanct, or Regrow, and let's try to find a 0 or 1 cost. Well, all miners are 0 or 1 cost, so let's just try to find a decent miner power. Drift Down is fantastic. That actually fully solves my problem on land 3, allowing me to, or actually it solves my problem on land 5, and then allows me to Carapace Land here, Drift Down here, no blight. Let's just for more options, let's look at other things. Lure of the Unknown also allows me to solve my 5 or my 3. Well, actually 3 will still build because they're adjacent coastal cities. So I can use Lure to solve my 5 and bring a town into, bring that explorer into my 7. And then I can just, because it has all of my elements, I can also use my left innate to kill that explorer after it shows up there. I could also opt to use Lure next turn as a, I can use Sacrosanct this turn to get an extra wilds out and push 2 to Han, and I can use Lure next turn to move to get that town out of there and then kill the town instead. However, that's a little riskier because they may explore into the land that I'm pushing that town into, and I may want to use that lure as a different form of control. But that's also what my Spreading Wilds is for, potentially. I think I like the idea of a lure here, just for the sake of getting my... or Drift Down. I think so if I grab Drift Down, then that's a consistent defend 4 in jungles and sands and consistently solves them. Now my land 7 is a jungle, and that's almost never going to have any issues because it's just my wilds, and when the wilds goes away, it's also where I'm going to probably be doing a decent amount of damage with my left innate. So instead, yeah, I think I want to grab Lure. Lure helps a lot. And then I still haven't used my right growth, so let's do our growth here. And we want to make sure that we have access to our that we have access to our Carapace land next turn. So I can put a presence here. However, alternatively, I can put my presence just somewhere else, like this mountains, for instance, and I can just place my second presence in there next turn for the Carapace land, and then I can have coverage over the entire board for my right innate. So I'm going to do that. And then let's play... I think I'm just gonna preemptively, so let's gain our energy first. Yep, and then we can play Regrow from Roots and Lure of the Unknown. That lets me add a wilds to a land without explorers and gather that explorer out of the 5, and lets me get rid of one of the blights that are added in the Ravage here. Okay, so time passes. Or, yeah, fast power phase. So let's play our lure, and we will just gather this explorer over here. Or actually, let's gather it just into our this land with beasts, just in case something happens there. All right, and now that is done with fast powers, so let's go on. And let's grab our first event. All right, so we have Wounded Lands attract explorers. So we, on each board, add an explorer to a land with blight. So that directly undid what I tried to do here. That's really unfortunate. So let's go ahead and add that explorer. Then we push up to 2 explorers or 1 town from a land with beasts. All right, so let's just push this explorer out. In each land with towns or cities, 1 damage per Dahan. Then each surviving town or city does 1 damage to Dahan. So this takes 1 damage. And I don't actually know how to do damage to this. Let's see. Apologies, I've never really done TTS before, so let's just flip it to show that that took a damage. And then this Dahan also takes a damage. Okay. So that's the first event of the game. And then there's no Blighted Island effects. We have no fear cards. So let's ravage in the wetlands. So they ravage here, adding a blight, and then that blight also gets added to the ocean from Sweden 5's effect. Then they build and after ravage first, they add a town to each inland land matching a ravage card. So let's add a town here. And then they build in sands. So we add a city here and a town here. And then we explore mountains. So, and we have our escalation. On the single board with the most towns or coastal towns or cities, add 1 town to the end lands with the fewest towns. So we added just a town to the land with the fewest towns. Let's add that. Where did it go? Oops. Oh, I dropped it in the ocean. Let's add that town just to my inland land here, just so I can, so I have something to kill with my left innate next turn. And on my next turn, I may end up having to reclaim my Sacrosanct or my Lure of the Unknown to solve this land here, so it doesn't cascade, which is really unfortunate. Now, okay, then they explore mountains. So let's do that. Okay, and now time pass. Now we can advance the invader cards and slow power phase. So we can do our regrow from roots and remove this blight. Then we can do our right innate and the targeted land with no blight, and add a wilds to it. So let's add a wilds here. And then we can, that's actually the end of our slow power phase. So let's ready. Time passes. And then perfect. Okay. So we know we're going to be doing a carapace land here. We need to figure out something to do there as well. Otherwise, we are going blighted immediately. So I can either gamble and just gain a power card here and see what happens, or I can reclaim. But since I have... Oh, you know what? I forgot to pay my energy on my last turn for the cards I played. I played Boon of Growing Power. No, I played Regrow from Roots and Lure of the Unknown, so that would have gotten me down to 3 energy. Which I still have enough to pay my cost for my growth 4. So I'm going to do that. Let's gain a power card. And let's see what kind of a minor power I can get here that might help me with my current situation. Strong and constant currents lets me solve my land 1. Oh wait, this is supposed to be a town from the Scotland Explorer. That's my bad. Okay, there we go. So, strong and constant currents does let me push that town out, but then they'll still build. Devouring Ants is too slow for this. Steam Vents. If I play Steam Vents, Sacrosanct Wilderness, and Carapace Land, then and just get up to 3 card plays, that does solve my 5. I think I'll do that. I'll grab Steam Vents. And then I take my growth 2, or first I take this growth, and we will just grow down to 3 card plays. And so let's grow into a land without blight. And let's go over, let's see, where should I take this? Let's get this. Let's put this over here because they're kind of turned off for a little bit. And we will then use our growth 3, grow into a land with wilds or presence. And then we can do Sacrosanct, Carapace Land, Steam Vents. Perfect. And we have our left enabled as well now. And we have a bunch of fast powers to play. Excellent. All right. So let's gain our energy. Let's pay our energy. And flip our ready token. Okay. Fast power phase. So we have Sacrosanct Wilderness. I can kill a town with that. Or I can add a wilds to something. Now, if I add a wilds here, then I can add a presence there in my reclaim, which does seem pretty appealing to me. However, that does also push the Dahan out of there, and I can add a wilds there in my slow phase. So let's think of something else to add a wilds to or do something else with. If I do a Sacrosanct here, that softens them up for later. However, this Dahan will do the same effect. So, actually, we are threatening a loss condition right now if they build a city there. So let's do our Sacrosanct into my land 4. That'll both push this Dahan out of here, which lets it kill that city in the Ravage, and then protects me from the loss condition. And then I can take it, and then I can also kill that town. So let's Sacrosanct here. That kills this town. So let's just generate 1 fear for that. And that also pushes this Dahan out of here. All right. And then we can carapace land there. That's defense for me. And see, I don't know how to increment that, but that's I know that's 6 defense at least. Oh, there we go. Just because I have the 2 earth that I need. And then for steam vents, I have the 3 earth that I need to destroy a town at range 0. Hold on. It has to be at range 0, huh? In that case, I think I might need to take a look back at my minor power deck. So the top 3, the top 3 that I rejected. And unfortunately, none of those have a solution to my problem. So I think I just have to accept the Blight Cascade. I can cascade it into my jungle and remove it with regrow from roots later. That's just unfortunate though. So let's... Yeah, it's just too bad. I will be going blighted even though I removed a blight earlier. Unless, of course, some event saves me. So let's instead do our steam vents in this mountain to prevent, or just to let a town build there instead of a city. Okay. And that is all of my fast powers. Invader phase. So first, let's reveal our next event. And during the next normal ravage, each city does 2 additional damage. All right, so they are now hitting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is just fine. I'm still defending that. Then we add a disease, but disease doesn't prevent builds this invader phase. Let's throw a disease into... Since this isn't fully cleared, let's throw a disease there. Okay, and then next, 1 fear per land where with invaders where Dahan outnumber towns or cities. That is no fear there, no fear there. That is 1 fear, which does get me my first fear card. So that actually did me quite well. Now let's see what this fear card is. Terror level at terror level 1. All right, we defend 1 in all lands. That's just off by 1 for protecting my land 5. Unfortunately, that could have been great. So we'll just make this 7, and this is a 1. Those are the only ones that are relevant, so I'm just not going to bother doing anything else. All right, so now we ravage and sands. So let's start over here. They hit for 7. I defend for 7. Dahan counterattack for 4 damage. So that kills a city and kills a city and does 1 damage to a town. They ravage here for 3, defend for 1. They do blight the land, and that does cascade. And so let's hit our blighted island. We hit attenuated essence. Each invader's phase, each spirit with at least 5 presence on the island destroys 1 presence. So that will be guaranteed destruction for me, unfortunately. All right. Now they will build, or now after the ravage, they add a town to each inland land that matches a ravage card. So let's add our town over here. And then and then they build in mountains. So this is adjacent to coastal cities, so they still build here. And they add a city over here, which is going to start becoming a problem if I don't do something about it. Now, I do have my Carapace land, and I do have my Lore of the Unknown. So Lore of the Unknown will still solve this. Carapace will still solve this. So no major issues there. Now let's explore, and we have jungles. And first we will add a town to the land with the fewest towns. So let's add that here, just because they'll be exploring here. Unfortunately, that does disable Lure of the Unknown now. It also pops as wilds. So I've got to figure out something to do real quick. Let's add our explorer here. And then we advance. All right, so slow powers. We have both of our innates online here. Sadly, I can't get that explorer out because it is blighted. But I can do 2 damage to this town and kill it. So let's get rid of this town here. And then let's see, I can actually with my steam vents, I could potentially just kill this town here as well. All I need to do is get up to 4 card plays, so I can do my... Or actually, I don't need the Lure of the Unknown, so I would just need to reclaim and basically play this exact same turn again. And so with that in mind, let's push that explorer. So first off, let's remove these defense, and let's use my right innate to push that explorer into here and add a wilds to that land. Oops, nope, not a fear card. You stay on top of there. Yep, wilds to that land. Okay. And now I think that's all of my innates, so let's ready and do our time passes. And for this turn, so they'll be ravaging in the mountains here. And here. Carapace land solves this, and I can steam vents to solve this. And then jungles are not a huge threat. I'll figure out something to do with that. All right, so we can reclaim all and gain 1 energy. And then we will just, let's just grow up to 4 card plays, actually. I can do Cult of Ferocity. Boon of Growing Power is a really good one, too. So we can do Boon, because I don't really need Sacrosanct right now, I don't think. I mean, Sacrosanct is a good thing for potentially getting rid of this town here. Though, if they explore, when they explore again, which they will in 2 turns, they will just be adding another town there. Assuming they don't have sands in this stage 3 card at least. Yeah, so I think I'm actually just going to grow off my top track, get to 5 energy. So we'll go top track, and I want to grow into here for my Carapace land. Actually, no, I do want to go bottom track here. And then I can do, let's gain our energy. And I get 1 more energy because of my growth. And we will go Sacrosanct, Carapace, Steam Vents, and Boon of Growing Power. And then we will pay our energy, and that still actually enables me to get my my G3 and G4 next turn. So let's go ahead and ready for the invader phase. All right, now we have our fast powers. We will do our Sacrosanct into land 3, targeting there, killing a town, earning a fear card, and then we'll also push the 2 Dahan out, and let's push them into here. And then we will do our, let's do our steam vents first. So steam vents just destroys 1 town. Done. Carapace land, 6 defense into this land. Perfect. And then we don't do Boon of Growing Power yet. So we have Punish, Spreading Wilds, Boon of Growing Power, all that. Perfect. Okay, and then we are done with fast powers. So we are going on to the invader phase. Let's reveal our event. Oh, sorry. It's Blighted. I didn't read the event first. It's Blighted Island effects first, I believe. Yeah. Or is it Blighted Island effects first? I can't quite remember. Let me double check. Let's just show our player aids here. And it's just loading. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. No. I think it's Blighted Island effect before event, if I remember right. I've been playing digital so much that that's just been managed for me. I'm just gonna assume that it is. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 presents on the board. So we will have to destroy 1 presence. And I think I'm gonna just destroy 1. I'm gonna destroy this one. So this will just go in my destroyed presence. I'll just put that to the side. And now we have our event. Okay. On each board with 9 or more towns and cities, builds card skip the highest numbered matching land. On each board with 3 or fewer, build cards cause 1 extra. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. However, after the Ravage, I will actually still have 8 because a city will die and then there will be a town added there. Let me double check my count here because I'd love to be able to get that build skip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay. Well, all right. We don't get that skip, unfortunately, unless something else happens. We do get no fear because there's only 1 beast. We get an extra 5 defend over here. So let's yep. All right. So we have 11 defense. In there. All right. So that's the event. And then we have a fear card. Each player removes an explorer from a coastal land. All right, yeah, I'll just get rid of an explorer. Okay. Now we have our Ravage. So nothing happens here because I killed that town. And over here, they're fully defended. So all that happens is this city dies, generates 2 fear, and this town takes 1 damage. And then after the Ravage, they add a town to an inland land matching the Ravage card. And then they build in jungles, which adds a town. Let me double check that event condition again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And that event was 9, yes. Unfortunately, yeah. Okay. Now they've built in the jungles. They don't build here. And so we explore. And they just explore jungles and sands. So they do end up popping that wilds, unfortunately. So jungles, explorer, sands, pops the wilds, and explorer. Okay. Luckily, they still won't build there. However, I need to add another wilds there to renew that, to stop that coastal explorer from causing more issues later. Now we will go to our slow powers, and before I do anything else, let's get some new information. So let's do our boon of growing power, and this time around, I think it should be about time that I gain a major power. However, I could also just play out this entire hand here and have it do things. Let's see, if they ravage there, that's a problem. So I think I do need to gain a major and start working towards that. All right. Can I threshold Dream of the Untouched Land? If I reclaim, I play Dream, Lure of the Unknown, and Dream, Lure of the Unknown, Boon of Growing Power, and unfortunately, I can't get my 3rd mountain element off of that. I would need to get up to 5 card plays, which is possible. However, that does cause me to not be able to afford the other stuff. So let's see, I'm at 3 energy. I will be, after a reclaim and a presence add, I will be at 5 energy. After I gain my energy for the turn, I will be at 9 energy. If I play Dream of the Untouched Land, but then the problem is they do the Coastal Explorer next. Now, Cast Down actually does solve my 2, which is a big problem land, and generates a ton of fear, and I may actually be able to threshold that later. Let's see, how much water do I have? I've got only 2 water available, but I do have the sun and moon and earth that I would need for it, so I would just need to find 2 more water to draft Cast Down. Accelerated Rot lets me remove Blight, but that's slow. I think Dream seems best for me, just because I can also remove Blight with it. and proliferate. I think Dream kind of solves all my problems. So let's see. Again, doing the math here. If I get Dream, I need 3 Moon, which would mean I need to play Dream, Boon of Growing Power, Lure of the Unknown. That's 7 total energy so far. Now if I play those, I also get my 2 plant that I need. So then I just need 1 more water and 2 more earth. And so I could do my, yeah, so that would be 7 total energy. I have 2 more to spare, and I can finish that off with either steam vents or regrow, because both have the water earth. And then I can just play Carapace Land, or Call to Ferocity. So I can Threshold Dream of the Untouched Land if I just get up to 5 card plays here. Yep, I will grab that. And then forgetting a power card. So with all that in mind, I think Steam Vents has served its purpose, and I will be playing Regrow. So I think I'll just forget Steam Vents. I'm just gonna kind of put it off to the side here. Or wait, I'll just put it in the minor discard. There we go. Okay. Now that was my first. Oh wait, that's right. If I forget Steam Vents, then I can't actually threshold my left innate. I should have considered that. So instead, let's forget Call to Ferocity. Okay, so we'll forget Call to Ferocity here. And then we will reclaim anyways. All right. Okay, and now we can go left innate. We'll do 2 damage in a land with our presence. Let's do that. Let's do that here. Just get rid of that Explorer, because I kind of want to focus on putting wilds out in other places here. So we'll remove that Explorer, and then we will do our right innate, which will get us a wilds in a land without blight, basically. So we can add a wilds. And let's add it here for this turn, because then I can get the other one out in my slow next turn. And then with that, I think we have it. Okay. Yeah, and Carapace will protect this land, so I'm good there. And I can even stop their build by just pushing 2 Dahan out in my growth. All right, that is slow powers done. And now we can do our time passes. And we will start by doing a reclaim. And we can then do our growth, and we'll do our G3 from our bottom track. And let's grow into a place where we can push Dahan out to make them useful for something. So let's do this here and push these 2 Dahan, and then we'll protect them with Carapace Land. So let's gain our energy. And I also gain my 2 energy from my 2 growth options. All right, and now first, Dream of the Untouched Land. Yep. And regrow from roots. We have Carapace Land. And we have our Boon of Growing Power was the next one. And Lure of the Unknown. And yep, thresholded the threshold on Dream of the Untouched Land is now checked off. So, and my total energy cost is 8. Pay the energy, and let's go. Okay, now Dream of the Untouched Land will solve my we'll start working towards cleaning up all the blight in these sands. Since I have this protected, I can actually just do my Carapace Land in here. So let's Dream of the Untouched Land, which does remove up to 3 blight and up to 3 health worth of invaders. That's a really solid card for this spot here. And we'll just remove those and that. And then we add another board, which I don't actually know how to do. Let's see. We need, maybe it's here. No. Okay, we want, let's see. Sorry, again, new to Tabletop Simulator. There they are. Okay, we have our 3 balanced boards, or 8 extra balanced boards. Which one do I do for that? Why are there only 3 balanced boards there, I wonder? When there are a total of, I think, 9. Yeah, okay, I think it's this one. Okay. So we grab a random board. And I'm gonna rotate it like this. Let's go like that. Wait, does it fit together like that? It does, yeah. Tabletop Simulator is just kind of weird with that, I guess. Yeah, that does fit. So we have our extra board for Dream of the Untouched Land. We will add 2 beasts. Let's see, I'm gonna try to see if there's a different way to rotate this that makes more sense, though. So if I just take this entire board, no. Okay. Let's move this board up, take this board, and then also actually, sorry. Where did the button go? There it is. Move right, take this board, put it down. That's how I like it. Okay. And then we will, all right, so now we add our 2 beasts. And let's so they're probably never going to really threaten inland here. Probably. But let's add, just in case, let's add a beast here. And we'll add a beast here. And then we'll add our 2 wilds. And let's make them coastal. And then we'll add 2 badlands. And let's make that one coastal. And let's throw in one more coastal one just in case. And up to 2 presents, which proliferates me nicely. So let's go coastal presence here. And maybe 1 inland presence just in case. And we'll add that one to the land with the most adjacencies. So let's go here. Okay, and now, yep, now we have our official Dream of the Untouched Land build skip, which I'm just gonna put this over here. Rotate that. Okay, beautiful. So Dream of the Untouched Land is done. Carapace Land. We will defend 6 over here. Which nicely over defends it. Lure of the Unknown. So because none of these are in the right range, I think that will, let's see. Let me double check that. Yeah. None of these are within 1 of a town or city, so they will not be adding towns for that Scotland 6. And now builds are just going to be completely halted for the rest of the game. So for my Lure of the Unknown, I kind of just needed it for the elements anyways, so I don't feel too bad about not actually doing anything with it. Yeah, let's just not use it, I think, because if I gather here, they're going to build there. If I gather here, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a wilds. So let's just not do our lure at all. So let's move on to invader phase. Let's do our blighted island effect. So we'll destroy a presence somewhere. Let's get rid of one on my extra board here. Event. All right, so we have Years of Little Rain. I will happily forget Dream of the Untouched Land for that. That's just an easy. I'm done with that card. It served its purpose. Let's forget that. Get our 4 water elements and proliferate even further. So that lets me go to one of my lands with Dahan. I'll just proliferate into here. And then that also pushes these 2 Dahan out. So let's push them into here so I can maybe defend there later. Okay. Um, each beast does 2 damage. I don't need that 2 damage, so let's just, because the town's gonna die anyway, so let's just kill 2 explorers. And during Ravage in every land, defend 1 per Dahan in the land, so that's just an 8 now. Not necessary, but not bad either. And with that, we have our events done. We don't have any earned fear cards right now, so let's go into the invader phase. So they ravage in jungles. So they will kill that town. And then they add a town to each inland land matching a ravage card within 1 of a town. Which unfortunately just gets that going because now they're going to build a city in each of those lands. And then they also build in sands. This disease gets popped. None of these build... Oh wait, actually, no. My bad. Dream of the Untouched Land skips the build. So let's just get rid of those. I forgot about that. So no builds happen at all. That's wonderful. Okay. Then in that case, we're in good position here. They do their big Scotland coastal explore. So they pop a wilds. They add a town here, and they add a town here. Slow power phase. All right, so we have Boon of Growing Power, and now that I've done my big Dream of the Untouched Land, I'm once again in a position where I don't have any big major powers, and now that I have 7 energy and 5 card plays, I really want a big major power to be able to do things with. So, Tsunami. That does a lot in this coastal land. And there are no Dahan in there anymore because I moved them. I do have the elements to threshold it as well, which actually kind of just fully solves my Scotland issues. I think that's pretty good, especially since I'm going to be regrowing up here anyways, so I'm just going to be clearing that blight, and I can let them blight in that land. Let's see. Terrifying Nightmares, not all that useful. Bargain of Coursing Paths. I do have lands with 2 or more Dahan. Now, I could let that just get everything into like a coastal land to kill them with like Towering Wrath or something. But I think that's a little too slow to set up. Bargain of Coursing Paths would have been a lot better early game, but we're kind of in the late game now. And Wounded Wild, I'm cleaning up Blight, so I don't really have a target for that. I think I'm going to go with Tsunami. So we'll pick Tsunami. And I think now is almost as good as time. I kind of wish I had used my left innate before this because I could have forgotten Boon of Growing Power for this, but let's just forget Steam Vents. It served its purpose. Oh wait, no, I need it for the water element. In that case, we can forget... I really would like to use my left innate. Let's forget Sacrosanct. So we'll just throw it off the table. Okay. So now we can we've done our boon of growing power. We can do our regrow from roots, remove a blight. Things are looking really clean. We can do our left innate, and I'm just going to use that to destroy this town. And then we can do our right innate, and I'm gonna do, oh wait, sorry, I forgot that they explored here. Next turn I can lure the unknown to get it out of there, so that won't be an issue. Okay. Or I can just nuke it. Let's... Yeah, lure of the unknown does the trick. Alright. We will now do a right innate, and let's just add a wilds here. Let's see, let me take a look here. So invader deck, so far we've had jungle, mountain at stage 2, so this next one is going to be sands or wetlands. And yeah, I think I need to just, yeah, I unfortunately can't add a wilds there because there are 2 explorers in there, so we'll just add a wilds in the sands. I think that's our best bet at having something work out. And then, yeah, okay. We now can, I think that's all of my slow powers. Yep. So we'll go into our time passes. Okay. And we will reclaim our cards again. And we'll just grow into a land with wilds or presence here again. And they're ravaging jungles. I can let that blight. So we'll just... let's just grow right over here. Have a nice spot for Towering Wrath farming. And then we will gain our energy. Additionally, we get 2 more for our for our reclaim and our growth 3. We will tsunami. So I need 3 water, 2 earth. Easy. Steam vents, regrow. That gets me my thresholded tsunami. Now I have 2 more card plays to do whatever I want with. I could do a Carapace land there again and just defend it. Or I can lure of the unknown this out. Let's lure and Carapace. What's that looking like? Okay, it's not looking like anything all that useful. I actually think I would rather, since I'm regrowing anyways, just Towering Wrath. Just spend all of my energy and start doing some damage for real. So let's pay our 11 energy. And Towering Wrath will either clean up what I've started with my tsunami, or I can just use it over here if they build a city there. Well, they won't build a city there, but yeah. Okay, let's go into our fast powers. So we'll do our Lure of the Unknown. Or actually, we can't Lure of the Unknown right now. Let's start by doing our steam vents, which is thresholded. Steam vents actually also solves this land. So let's just boom, steam vents. Okay. Lure of the unknown. We can so let's just hit that. Nope. Okay. So I need something to use Lure of the Unknown on. Now, Tsunami is going to just do, it's going to do 4 damage to each coastal land. So I actually think I can afford to do a Lure of the Unknown. Let's see, how much damage is total happening there? Okay, 8 damage in this land. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all right. Let's lure this one out because this town will just be taken care of anyways. And then we'll be able to do our Towering Wrath and everything and just do tons of damage. Okay, that's our fast powers. Invader phase. Now we destroy a presence in a land, or destroy a presence just because of the Blighted Island effect. I want to keep 1 presence on my extra board here just to make sure that everything is okay. So let's destroy presence here. And then we will do our and then we have an event. And our event is Hardworking Settlers. So we can either immediately ravage in the land with the most invaders. That matches a Ravage card, which I do not like that. Or it'll add a town on here, disrupting my whole thing that I'm doing. Or Ravage card skip to up to 1 matching land. But I accelerate the invader deck. That's kind of scary because I don't have a lot of cards left. I've got 5 cards. That'll bring me down to 3 turns to kind of deal with everything. I kind of need to, I need to maintain this board's state though. I think I need to just remove the top, the bottommost stage 2 and stage 3 cards and get a good major power. So we will just remove that stage 2, and I need to remove the bottommost stage 3 card. Okay, so those go away, and then this gets stacked back up. Okay. And then, yeah, we do generate 1 fear. And beasts also count as badlands. Doesn't really do anything for me. Okay, well, we have a fear card. So let's just get rid of this event now. We have a fear card. Let's see if that does anything. Add a strife to a town or city in a land not matching a ravage card. We can add a strife. let's add a strife to that city. All right. Now, oops. Where did this come from? I think that was, oh, whoops, yeah, I meant to put both of these on top. All right. Now we ravage jungles and sands. Uh-oh. I kind of forgot about all the extra blight that's going to be added here. That's just a massive blunder on my part. Okay, so they ravage here, they kill 2 Dahan, they add a blight. What did I just do? There we go. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, they kill 2 Dahan. They add a blight. They ravage here. They kill 1 Dahan, and 1 Dahan takes 1 damage, but then the Dahan counterattack. And they ravage here and add a blight, kill a presence, and a blight to the coast. That's really bad. Okay. Then they add a town to each land with each inland land matching a ravage card. Okay. Then they build in all coastal lands. I'm just gonna skip the build again with my Dream of the Untouched Land. And then they explore jungles and wetlands. Okay, so we add a town here. We add an explorer here, add an explorer here, and pop the wilds, add a town. All right, that's all not great. Okay, well, let's see what I can do. So I'm going to be generating a ton of fear this turn. Tsunami, 8 damage, 2 fear, 8 damage. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was a city, 2 towns, and an explorer. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there are no Dahan to destroy. In each other coastal land, 1 fear. So we'll hit this one first. That's 1 fear. 4 damage. That's another fear. And then we have 1 fear. 4 damage. And that's another fear. Okay, Tsunami's done. We can... Oh, my bad, I forgot to add that blight there, which I'm just going to use my regrow from roots now on to bring it back. And then we will Towering Wrath. Let's do our Towering Wrath into... this jungle. Well, actually, if I do it into that jungle, then it does kill the Dahan. Do I mind that? Well, let's see. Okay. Luckily, I have a lot of damage going on here. So, actually, my Steam Vents next turn, this has been kind of carrying me. I can Steam Vents next turn and still actually kill that town and not worry about it. So, instead, let's do... how much damage is it? It's +1 damage, so I get a total of 4 damage split between 2 of my lands. So let's split 4 damage between 2 of my lands. So we have 1, 2, 3 over here, and then 4, and then the Badlands as an extra one there. So let's And that does 2 more fear. Beautiful. Okay, and so now we still have our Towering Wrath. And so next turn I'm just going to use Steam Vents in this land. I'll just grow into there like with my G3, or just with my Right Innate. I can just throw Wilds there. So I'll throw Wilds there right now. Push this Explorer into, let's say, here, and add a Wilds. I'll grow into there with my G3, and then I'll just Steam Vents that town out of there. And then, okay, this is working nicely now. For my Towering Wrath, I don't have any Dahan in here to defend with, so I think there's no point in keeping that city alive. Especially since the event could still come up that just ignores Strife, and that would be a really bad situation. However, an argument could be made to Towering Wrath into this Sands and just get rid of all these towns as well. And then maybe I could find some way to get enough. Well, it's literally not possible for me to get enough Dahan in there actually to do anything with. So let's do our Towering Wrath into. I have 4 damage available. It would be a waste to not use it. 4 damage kills 2 towns or 1 city explorer. I think I'm gonna go for the 2 towns, since this land is my most problematic one right now, given that it has Blight and I can't really access it in any other way. So let's just kill 2 towns. Generate 2 fear. And that's my slow phase. Oh wait, yeah, did I add the town for everything? I did, yeah. I did add the town for every inland land. Okay. We will now, time passes. And once again, we're gonna reclaim. And alright, now I don't need the tsunami anymore, so I think it's time that I actually just gain another power card, and I'll just use Lure of the Unknown to get rid of that town. And I can just like Steam Vent it or something. So let's gain another power card, forget my tsunami, and gain a major. I can Threshold Mists of Oblivion, and I think that actually does kind of tie up everything. Dissolve the Bonds of Kinship actually does help too. Can I Threshold it? No. Can I Threshold? No. Sleep. I could Threshold Sleep and never waken, but I don't have a Sands to target it out of. So I think Mists is my answer, and I will forget my tsunami. Okay. Now we also so we use our G1 and G2, and we gain 1 energy for using our G1. Let's gain our energy for the turn, and let's do our mists. And this is going to be pretty easy to threshold. So we'll do Lure. We can do our Steam Vents, Towering Wrath, Actually, we don't want steam vents this turn, I guess. We'll do our regrow. And I guess I do need steam vents for the third thing, so we'll do our steam vents. And instead of lure, we will do carapace. All right, what am I missing here? Oh, I need the lure. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that seems fine. Okay. Let's pay our energy. Flip our thing. Fast powers. Now we have our lure. I'm just gonna use it. All right, so the ravaging coastals. Building jungles and wetlands. Unfortunately, I don't have steam vents thresholded. So if I did lure, I could bring this out. Well, actually, you know what? I'm skipping every build. They're not building a city there. So let's just not worry about the lure again. I like that idea. And then we will, let's just lure, in that case, lure this here. Then there are far fewer adjacencies into there. Oh, you know what? I forgot that they were supposed to explore into here. Oh wait, no, I did explore into there. I forgot. I did split my damage and kill it. So yeah, let's lure that. And then we can do our steam vent to destroy one explorer. Let's just get rid of that guy. And then that is my fast powers. Invader phase. So once again, I have to destroy a presence. Let's just get rid of this one now. And then we will destroy, and then we will do our event. Okay. So, if you have any earned fear cards, resolve the first one now as if it is at the terror level 1 higher. Awesome. So we get a free terror level 3 fear card. So let's see it. Each player removes an explorer or town from a land with presence, or removes a city from a land with a sacred site. Let's just get rid of that city. And then, all right, awesome. So that is a fear card resolved. And then on each board in a land with badlands or beasts and towns or cities, destroy a badlands or beast and 1 damage to Dahan and 1 damage. Ouch. Okay, so that's 1 damage to Dahan, 1 damage. Destroy that beast. Nothing relevant there. Okay, next. In the land with the most Dahan, push half of them. So let's push this Dahan over here. Okay, that's the event done. Fear cards. So we have our terror level 2. Each player chooses a different land, and each gather up to 2 Dahan, 1 damage if Dahan are present. So I'm going to choose this one, and I will go ahead and gather it and do 1 damage to that town, which does finish the job on it. And we're really close to our win condition now, and I think we actually have it in the slow phase. Skip all build actions and lands with Dahan at numbered towns or cities. I'm already skipping all build actions, so nothing to really do there. And gather up to 3 explorers or towns from a single land into a land with 2 or more invaders. let's gather all of these explorers out of here because I just don't like them being there. Oops, that explorer just died. There we go. Okay, and let's get rid of that town. All right, now fear cards are resolved. Next, in the slow phase, Mists of Oblivion wipes out this. Wait, actually, you know what? I think I don't want this. I want to gather this one out. Oh, wait, they're not building a city because, again, I'm skipping. So, no, I will gather these 3 explorers because Mist will wipe them all out. And then my left innate will also wipe out that town. This is fantastic. Okay, now they ravage coastal lands. There's not a single coastal land with invaders. They build in jungles and wetlands. I skip. Then they explore mountains and wetlands. All right, so we get a town here. We get a town here. Nothing in those at all. And we just get an explorer. Let's see. So the explorer has all right, yeah, so this should have a town there as well. And then we just get one more explorer over here. Except they don't because of the wilds. Nice. I think that's it. We advance. Slow powers. So we have our Mists of Oblivion, which will destroy everything in there. Let's optimize. So first, yeah, so Mist of Oblivion does destroy everything in there. It does 1 damage to each invader first. So we'll do 1, dead, dead, dead. And then it does 3 more damage. Boom, boom. And it generates 1 fear for each town destroyed. And it generates 2 more fear for destroying 2 towns. All right. Nice. And then we have our left innate, which does 4 damage split between 2 of our lands. And that will destroy both of these towns. And then we'll do our Towering Wrath here just to destroy that town at range 1. And we'll do our Regrow from Roots. Pop a Blight off of here. And then on our next turn, in the fast phase, I can just Steam Vents this town away and win the game. So let's go ahead and do our time passes and finish this game up. All right. So we first do our Reclaim once again. And let me make sure I have enough to threshold Steam Vents. I do. The silent carry of this entire game somehow. And let's just, since I don't need another major or anything, let's just grow off of my top track and get that last presence off. Let's grow into here for one more sacred site. And then we will do our, oh, I forgot to pop wilds here, my bad. Okay, we will do our Steam Vents. First we gain our energy. Then we do our, and we get 1 more for our growth option. We do our Steam Vents. We do our Regrow. We do Carapace Land. And then we do whatever else we want after that because we have 1. So we'll just do some other stuff and then we can just win the game. Yeah. So let's pay our energy, get to our fast power phase, steam vents, range 0, thresholded, destroy a town. Done. And that is the game. So yeah, that was a good challenge. Thank you, Ryan Lackie, for organizing this. And I wish good luck to the rest of the players in this thing. So yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.